Unless you're a gamer who happens to live under a rock, you've at least heard of Fortnite and the way it's taken over the world. The multi-platform title is another spin on the Battle Royale genre, but because of its zany colors, free-to-play model, and frequent changes and updates, it's become a household name. With so many players online, you never have more than a brief wait to jump into a match, but this also means competition is becoming increasingly fierce to obtain that. Arm yourself with our Fortnite tips though, and you'll have the best chance of being the last one standing once the dust settles. Point 1. Know how to start at the start of each round. Pick out a promising spot from the bus structures. Loot is more likely, but isolation will give you a bit of breathing space while you get set up on the ground. Prepare to be adaptable during this landing phase by keeping an eye on where the other players are skydiving to, and if you find them heading to your chosen location on the way down, then break away, as it's going to get really messy upon landing otherwise. Your order of priorities upon landing should be as follows: get out of the open, get a weapon, get collecting building resources. One of the Fortnite tips I live by is waiting until the bus reaches the very edge of the map before jumping out. You're less likely to bump into other people and will have more of a chance of getting some undisturbed loot to set you up for the later stages of a match. Yes, you may have to travel a little further to get inside the circle as the storm closes in, but it's worth it for that great opening setup. Point 2. Nail the landing when falling out of the bus. You may have seen some other opponents pulling out their gliders later than you. It all comes down to how high you are above land. For example, your glider will open a lot higher over a mountain than it would over a lake. So, choosing your path and approximating where your glider is going to open will get you ahead of your opponents to claim that well-deserved chest. Falling over a low area will allow you to open your chute as late as possible. Then if you swerve over to a hill or building, you can land quicker and sprint off on foot. Point 3. Know your gear. Listen out for chests, as they make a magical tingling noise when you're close by and should contain at least one useful, high-level item and some of the best Fortnite weapons. They're usually hiding in attics or basements, so be prepared to smash stuff to get to them. Gear comes in 6 colors. Learn them and you won't waste your time trying to get to a blue item when you already have a set of purples. Common, gray uncommon, green rare, blue epic, purple legendary, gold 4. Stay in cover as much as possible. Avoid running across open areas, as the longer you stay in the open, the more likely you are to be spotted by another player. Stick to cover as much as possible, and if you do have to make a cross-country run, make sure you hug cover or use your jumps to make you a trickier target. You have unlimited sprint at your disposal, so there's no excuse to dawdle. Also remember that bushes are your friends, so use them and use them often, even if you don't have the actual bush disguise. Often you can camp in a bush with your head popping out and enemies will just walk on by. Admittedly, it is not the most respectable way to get a kill, but when you're low on health and have very little ammo, it's a great way to get in the first shot, or use it strategically to hide. It's your call. Point 5. Constantly assess your surroundings. If you run into a new area and see construction has taken place, be very wary indeed, as someone has set up a base here, and they might well still be around to defend it. Likewise, damaged buildings also reveal that you're not the first person to pass through here, so be on the lookout for an enemy presence. Listen for audio cues constantly, as your ears are the best defense you have and will often give away an opponent's position before you've had chance to see them. Point 6. Use your consumables after opening chests or raiding the supplies dropped by fallen foes. You should come across consumables to recover your health and shield. These are handy to have in reserve, but there's no point carrying them around for later if you can get the benefit from them immediately. You don't want to get taken out because you've got no shield and had a potion in your pocket the whole time. That's just embarrassing. One good Fortnite tip is that the better the item is, the longer it will take to consume, so make sure you're in cover and out of sight before using it. These are the benefits you can get from various consumables. Shield Potion, 50 shield, to a maximum of 100 small shield potion, 25 shield, to a maximum of 50 medkit, restores full health bandages, 15 health, to a maximum of 75 slurp juice, 1 health and 1 shield per second for 25s, to a maximum of 100 jug, restores full health and shield 7. Remember to cover your tracks, for the love of goodness, close the door. Did you grow up in a barn? This is without doubt one of the most useful things you can do while exploring, as shutting doors allows you to hear intruders entering the building you're in. Think of it as an early warning system, giving you a few seconds to prepare and get the jump on your unsuspecting enemy while they move from room to room. Also, open doors tell others that someone has been through the building already, so don't give away your position unnecessarily by leaving them ajar. It's also worth thinking about how you cut down trees on your quest for resources too. Try not to completely cut down trees and leave big trees with at least one hit left, so you don't give yourself away when the tree disappears, or from the trail of stumps you've left in your wake. Fortnite Llama Locations Fortnite Secret Chest Guide 8. Use height to your advantage. Being higher than other players will 9 times out of 10 give you an advantage, so camp at the top of buildings, head up hills and build vertically. Just make sure you have some cover up there. Be aware of your silhouette, as elevation is great for intermittent scans of the immediate area, and you should do this to keep apprised of all potential threats, but being framed against the skyline also makes you a lot more visible, as you'll be susceptible to long-range attacks. Point 9. Build for defense. Learn the instant combat tower structure, and map it to your muscle memory as quickly as possible. 4 walls, a staircase in the middle, move up and repeat, to build a simple, effective, elevated fort that you can duck in and out of at will. Learn to treat building as part of your weapon and gear set. You can build on the fly and climb stairs the instant their construction outline appears, so make them a dynamic part of your game. Getting sniped while out in the open. Throw walls down between you and your attacker, to buy yourself time as you run for cover. Point 10. Use the storm to your advantage. Don't fear the storm shrinking for the initial few rounds, as it gives you plenty of time to get inside the eye at first, and even if you do find yourself in the danger zone, your health drains pretty slowly. Once you're into round 4 or 5 though, it's deadly, so watch your health and try not to get trapped too far into it. As you're pushed closer to the middle of the map and the player count decreases, take more care to linger on the outskirts of the circle. There are fewer angles you can be attacked from there, and you can lie low while your opponents wear each other down. With your back to the edge of the storm, you're unlikely to get attacked from behind, so build this positioning into your tactics where possible. Remember to watch where the eye of the storm is and how long is left on the clock until the next storm eye shrinking phase, then plan your route ahead and make sure you leave yourself enough time to reach safety. There's nothing worse than being well equipped and on a good run, than dying in the storm because you couldn't outrun its advances. Point 11. Prepare for the endgame. If you make it to the endgame, and are up against just a handful of players in a small area, blow up as much of the potential cover as you can. These final standoffs tend to be a waiting game, where hidden players bait each other into exposing themselves, so don't give them the option. If you're lucky enough to obtain a slurp juice, save it, as this item is most effective when you are about to engage in battle. If you see an enemy before they see you, be sure to knock back your slurp juice, as this will regenerate both your armor and health for a short period of time, giving you a strong advantage over your opponent. Destroying opponents' bases and stairways is a great way to force them out into the open or cause them to run in fear. When destroying a base, start from the ground up. If you destroy the base of a building, the rest will collapse, causing an avalanche of materials and hopefully some broken legs. Your prey will then be out in the open, ready for you to pick off. 12. Watch and learn. Once you've been eliminated from a round, you'll drop into spectator mode and watch the player who killed you, then the player who kills them, etc. The temptation, of course, is to hit the return to lobby prompt immediately and jump into another match, but while you're still getting to grips with the game, it pays to stick around and observe. By following the players who survive late into the fight, you can see what tactics they use and learn new techniques to boost your skills for future battles. 13. Crouch as much as possible. If you're in a named location, there's a high possibility that you're not alone, so do your best to stay stealthy. Crouching down keeps you slow and quiet, meaning you can move around without drawing attention to yourself. You'll quickly hear anyone else that's around who's running or using their pickaxe to mine for resources, and in Fortnite, having any kind of upper hand is always a good idea. Fortnite's excellent use of spatial audio is only enhanced when you're donning a gaming headset. Footsteps, gunshots and other in-game sounds will feel much more immersive, and it'll be easier to identify which direction they're coming from if you're wearing headphones. Hearing another player before you see them is often half the Fortnite strategy, so give yourself an audio advantage. 15. Dead player drops can be a trap. Sometimes you'll spot a load of loot just lying on the ground, rather than in a chest or tucked away inside a building. It's a sign that some poor soul has been slain there, and although it might look like an inviting way to nab yourself some bandages and weaponry, be aware that the person that killed them may be lurking nearby ready to take you out too. Instead of just diving headfirst into that loot, hang back and survey the scene, and once you're 100% sure the coast is clear, you can go grab some of that shiny stuff. Fortnite Season 4 is all about superheroes and meteor showers, and if you head to one of the craters that have now appeared on the maps, you'll see little glowing purple rocks. Nab yourself one of these, known as hop rocks, and you'll unlock a limited low-gravity mode that lets jump higher for longer. They only last 30 seconds or so, but they're great fun, especially when you're in the final throes of a match.